Hey boys and girls, Mrs. Kiger here. I hope you enjoyed our fat experiment that I walked you through. And this is definitely something that you could do on your own. Maybe some of you already did it along with me. And you could try different foods in your house. Just make sure that you talk to your parents before you do it. And when I did the different things, I just kind of crunched them up to make sure that they were in smaller pieces. One thing that I want you to get, I guess the most important thing I want you to get from this activity is that remember, not all fat is bad. Our bodies need fat in order to give us heat and energy. Those are the two main things that our body uses fat for. But if we eat too much fat, it has more calories than other parts of food. And if you eat more calories than you need, then those unused calories can turn into body fat. And then they can actually make you heavy. Okay, so just like most things, all things are okay as long as you use, most things are okay as long as you use them in smaller parts, not too much of anything. So we can find fat in vegetable oil, butter, and cream, and you can also see it in the white and yellow parts of uncooked meats. So sometimes when you're eating steak and things like that, it actually has fat in it. So through our experiment that we were doing though, hopefully you did all your work first and you're not watching this yet. But through our experiment that we did, taking a look, we had to kind of be a little bit careful because I'll actually use my orange one that will help a little bit better. So buttered popcorn didn't really have that much of a stain on our paper, but we know butter has fat in it. So that was kind of interesting. Last year when we did this in the classroom, we kind of talked about the fact of that since popcorn is kind of more round and it's kind of more spongy, that maybe it didn't lay flat enough on the paper in order to kind of transfer the fat from the popcorn onto the paper. That could be one reason. The surface wasn't flat. Then we have our Lucky Charms, and the Lucky Charms did not have much fat in it at all. But look at those potato chips. Oh my goodness, look at how much fat. I mean, it just like so greasy. You can see through, even on the other side, boys and girls, you can see through that. Now, the one thing that was a little bit tricky, the deli ham and the bananas did not have much fat in it. Actually, remember the bananas had the least amount of fat, okay? 0.4, that's less than even 1 gram, about a half a gram of fat in one medium-sized banana that we saw from our nutritional label. The reason why we see something left there, though, is think about it. Your banana was wet. When you cut it up and put it on there, it's wet. So it was actually the moisture that was kind of left on the paper, and I did let it sit out and evaporate. But if you see what's left, it's not necessarily a greasy going through the paper stain. It's kind of that white from the banana. Same thing with the deli ham. You can see that the paper's kind of wrinkly there, and that is from the wetness of the deli ham. So you have to kind of take that into consideration too. So some of those questions that I asked you to answer, like what did you notice or what did you think was different from the actual nutritional labels, and why might you think that? So these two, remember, had some moisture in them that, yes, it evaporated off the paper, but the banana definitely left some coloring behind, but you can definitely see how that's different than the stain of the potato chips, okay? One thing that I want to share with you is, if I can find my paper, sorry, going through and looking at the different fat contents, and now I'm not sure what I did with it. The potato chips definitely had the most amount of fat, and we saw that in the nutritional label. I'm going to actually go to another video here in a moment and talk about that. But before I do, I wanted to share something else with you. Trying to flip between screens. So remember that when you're looking at nutritional labels too, you might see that there are actually 4 different types of fats. We've got saturated fat, trans fat, polyunsaturated fat, and monounsaturated fat. But what we were looking for was at the top of the nutritional label, when it talks about fat, it does say total fat. And that's kind of what we were looking for. That saturated fat is found mostly in food from animals, including meat, eggs, and dairy products. Trans fats are the ones that are often found in baked and fried commercial foods. Those polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, those are the long words. Those usually are found in oils that come from vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Okay? So, to stay healthy, remember it's recommended that all fats combined should make up no more than 20 to 35% of your daily calories, and that you should eat the fat types in proper balance. So once again, that balance, not too much of anything. Okay, so health experts actually suggest that you eat saturated and trans fats sparingly. That means you don't want to eat too much of those saturated and trans fat. Okay, so just a little bit. Remember, we know we do need some fat in our diets, but you just want to make sure that you keep them balanced and not too much of any type of fat. I'm going to add another video below that's going to talk about the different fat that I found in the nutritional labels and share some of my findings with you.